Anthony Barr is a Dallas Cowboy.
Listen, so Will Steele, we scrapping all this little shit. I had goddamn Malik Hooker clips. We ain't talking about none of this little bullshit here. We just got natural. Let's get into it. We ain't doing nothing. So, Will.
Yeah, you hold tight. I'm going to try to find some ish too.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. Yeah. So, before I ask Will Steele his thoughts, let me just kind of process this quickly right here, right? Yeah. Let's temper expectations, right? Let's just kind of slow it down, because this ain't Pro Bowl Anthony Barr that we thinking about from a couple years ago. I think that's the opening thought, right? The opening thought is that, hey man, you know, this ain't in my prime, in my youth, fresh out of UCLA Anthony Barr. But I think the question that you have to ask yourself, besides injury concerns, let's just say him being healthy, is he a guy that can be on par with a Jabril Cox, or better than a Keanu Neal, or on par with Leighton Vander Esch? That's kind of what we got to talk about, Will Steele, because going into this season, the one thing that we were super concerned about is Micah Parsons got to play everywhere, right? So you don't want it to be a situation where Micah Parsons has to play somewhere, but we become terrible somewhere else. You understand what I'm saying? So, all right, Micah Parsons at linebacker. We feel good about Micah Parsons at linebacker. So when it's time for Micah Parsons to go to the edge, we don't want to have to roll out Voch at Mike or something like that. You know what I mean? So now we're in a situation where, okay, well, cool. We can put Micah wherever we want, whenever we want, because Anthony Barr is not a liability in the run or the pass game. Anthony Barr can give you some pass rush. Will Steele. What are the possibilities? You ain't got to answer this now because you're looking for shit. But what are the possibilities, the pass rush possibilities, right? We add a linebacker to be able to move Micah Parsons around. Plus, we add just an extra pass rusher to that pass rush formula. It looked good to me. Yep. It looked good to me. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, yep. I mean, he brings that verse. I personally think that healthy, if his knee checks out, right? If he's good to go in that sense, he can push LVE. Now, maybe I'm going a little bit ahead of, schedule here. But again, get him in. That's why I wanted these guys in camp early. I didn't want to wait I've been saying this for a while. Don't wait too long, because then you won't get a fair go about it for Anthony Barr, right? Like if you get him in a week before the season, he's not really gonna get a shot for that position. But now he can have a real competition with LVE and all these other guys, Jabril Cox, whomever, and that room gets that added veteran quality presence for true competition. Not, hey man, Dennis Houston, because there ain't no choice. There is no true veteran competition in that room, in the wide receiver room. But the linebacker room, I think this is an excellent pickup, man. And I can't wait to break this all the way down with the clear head, but I love it, man. I've been trying to yell at the Cowboys to do this type of move since free agency, bro.
Guillotine 06 dropped 5 in the super chat. He says grand opening, grand closing. Also, too, chat, we not doing nothing else, man. Can we just get fire in the chat box for Will Steele providing us with the film on the fly? Let me give you a war call, sir. We didn't know this was happening. Listen, there was no show prep into this. You know what I'm saying? That was like, hey, man, just make sure you had an Anthony Barr clip ready. You never know. Shouts out to Will Steele for having this on the fly. Drop flames in the chat box for the best producer in the game.
Salute,
David J dropped a deuce in the super chat, says, where did this news break besides y'all? Look on Twitter, motherfucker. Where you at?
Yeah, it's what's the cat's name? Mike Garofalo.
Yeah, it's out now. Shit.
Yeah,
it's out now.
Mike Garofalo, and now everybody else, the check marks are reporting it. So this is accurate.
Yeah, it's good to go. It's official. So now let's just kind of get in this linebacker room, Will Steele. Boy, we got content, man. We not gonna make it, man. Let's get into this linebacker room, man, because we was just talking about how, finally Jabril Cox gets his opportunity to come in and, you know what I'm saying, boom, boom, boom. And, just while we're on this topic, Will Steele, like it seems like the coaches have, their voice. Right, their voice seems to carry in that room a lot more than it used to. How much of this probably was like a George Edwards call, right? We probably had to get We had to get George Edwards on the phone, like, hey, so Cowboy Nation's talking about this Anthony Barr thing. You know what I mean? You know how we are with money. You know how we are with free agents. There's nobody that give us a better cosign than you. This is whoever the fucking Illuminati shit over the Cowboy land talking about George Edwards right now, right? So who can give us more of a cosign than you? And George Edwards probably ran down all that Viking shit. You know what I mean? His long, hey, leadership, pass rush. You know what I mean? He's not the dude that he probably once was, but he's still an adequate player. Cause, you know, depending on injury or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And to be fair to the Cowboys, people love to shit on the Cowboys, but we do kind of have, and when I say we, I mean them in the front office. They do kind of have this knack, right, of finding air quote broken players and getting something out of them. And I think it all kind of kicked off with the Robert Quinn deal, right? Robert Quinn was the first guy that, hey, that didn't fit. Let's give up something cheap to get him and see what, you know what I mean? And it's all on your coaching staff to try to flip that and, you know, get something out of it. So shouts out to the defensive coaches. Kellen's still on the block, but the defensive coaches, right? It's on them. We've seen evidence of them taking shit and turning it into sugar, Will Steele, whether it be Malik Hooker, whether it be J-Ron Curse, whether it be guys like Carlos Watkins. So now we got a guy like Anthony Barr, who's the guy that we relatively feel comfortable about. This not like, oh, if something goes bad with Van Der Esch or Jabril, we rolling out Luke Gifford. I think it's too soon to say, but I think you got to start Anthony Barr, right? Like, if you getting him.
I want him to beat out LVE. I know people hate me when I say, you know, I look at LVE as, you know, okay, he's there, that's fine. I don't look at him as a guy that's making plays. You know what I mean? Sure. If he's a part of your depth, cool. If he's my number 1 or 2, I'm looking to upgrade at this point in LV's career. So Barr to me was always, and it's slim pickings, right? We're not talking about in March. So at this point, there were a couple linebackers that I thought could come here and compete. Anthony Barr and Quan Alexander. So yes, Voch, I want him to start, but you're right. I think it's too early to say he will, because Jabril Cox is going to be what your hybrid guy, your nickel guy. Micah's going to start. LVE got the green dot. So that's the competition. LVE versus Barr. And that's why I wanted it now, Voch. May the best man win.
So is there something, and you know, we don't know nothing right now. We just back and forth. We're just live reacting. This is brand new breaking news. In case you're tuning in, Anthony Barr has signed with the Cowboys. The more details that we get from y'all from Twitter, we'll kind of, you know, just you know, feed that to y'all. Apparently it was us and Denver. That's what Rappaport said. It was either Cowboys or it was going to be Denver, and the Cowboys got it done. So shouts out, Steve, for once in your life, Cowboy Nation, give you a little bit of credit for something. But Wilson, let me ask you a question though. So, do you think that it may be something in his contract that's like what's the incentive for Anthony Barr coming to us and sitting on the bench? You know what I'm saying? You know, and there's going to be a healthy rotation. You know what I mean? We understand that. You know, there was a rotation last year with Micah, Keanu, Vander, even Jalen in the first couple of games of the season. He was playing. There was a healthy rotation. So, like, who's your first guys out there? I would imagine that Micah is a guy that moves all over the place, but he is, in theory, like your first Mike linebacker. So do you run Micah out there with Barr first, or do you, you know, since Van Der Esch is the red dot guy, what's that smile on your face, Will Steele? What are you?
Because I love just hearing you say, do you run Barr with Micah Parsons? If they're both healthy, just the
time out, Will Steele. Time out, Will Steele. I got you. Look, I got you. And if anything, Will Steele, I looked at this defense as what's going to carry this team. Sure. You understand what I'm saying? I looked at the defense as the super strength. Like, hey, the whole defense win championship thing, I've been phoning my whole life. You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, it's offense. Offense wins these games, but I'm like, defense, you know what I mean? So now we'll just add another piece of that. Not saying, and look, I just want to be incredibly clear, because there are some new people that are going to take my optimism, they're going to take my smiles, they're going to take my energy. I'm not assuming that Anthony Barr comes in to be a Pro Bowler. He's not going to be a stud for us. Micah Parsons is your stud. What you want to do is just continue to add complementary pieces around him that's adequate. I think Anthony Barr is much more than damn adequate. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's fair. To
go back to your question, who do you roll out first? I think you want it to be Anthony Barr and Parsons, because in week 1 of last year, if we remember, LVE only played 14 snaps, and that was by design. Tom Brady and the Bucs are not going to run the ball 45 times. They're going to throw it 45 times. And LVE he's pretty much at this point more of a liability in pass coverage than he was at the beginning of his career. I wouldn't necessarily say Anthony Barr is, because Anthony Barr can either drop back if you want him to, or rush the passer. So if it was me and everything was equal, and you have a healthy competition, and it is equal, right? I'd go Barr week 1. Now, I much rather, let me just say this. We're kind of, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Barr very well may not even be here to play middle linebacker. So, you know, he may be here to play Sam. He may be here to play DPR. So I'll slow down on that aspect of it. But from the people we've talked to, Paul, you know, and just the research, he's played all the positions for George Edwards in Minnesota. So he's not accustomed to playing weak side, Sam, and middle. So he can do all three of those things. And it was only one, in my opinion, one backer in that room that could do all that at a higher level than what we've seen, and it was Micah.
Sure. Just another little tidbit that I'm thinking about as I'm writing things down, because we just want to get the best coverage, the best content for y'all. Dan Quinn's not a guy that sticks in one area or just in one formation. So we saying, yeah, you know, Barr is technically, you know, can he be a Sam? Can he be a Mike? That 3-4 situation that we roll out can open up the possibilities for Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr could be an outside rusher in that. Plus, he could be one of the middle guys. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're trying to fit Barr in this, you know, in this role that doesn't fit him. You know, that's not Dan.
This ain't Keanu Neal.
This ain't Keanu Neal. Right. Keanu Neal was basically a safety that got moved to linebacker. Like, hey man, can you do some cover things for us and try to play linebacker? This isn't Keanu Neal trying to play linebacker. This is a reputable linebacker that can give you valuable pass rush reps. So I'm excited, player. I'm excited.
1 year, $5.6 million. I mean, it's the Keanu Neal. It's the Keanu Neal number. Somebody asked me, "Would you pay him $11 million?" I said no, and it was like, "Well, do you think they'll pay him around the Keanu?" I said, "Yeah, they'll pay him around Keanu. They pay Keanu a converted safety to linebacker. So why wouldn't they, you know, come up $5 million? But it's $5.6 million apparently for 1 year.
That's not bad.
It would have been nice to get him for 2, but I think next year you're looking at Damone Clark. So.
Yeah, sure. Aaron from 561 says maybe Cox's knee bruise is worse than expected. I don't think so, because we've been talking about Barr for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And you know, even when, you know, we looked at, and plus the guys that we trust over there, the beat writers, the reporters, they all say that, you know, Cox is fine, Brillo is fine or whatever. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. But this was a linebacker room that looked a bit dry in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you're one weird Van Der Esch situation from, all right, so we go Story Jackson now, you know what I mean?
Devin Harper.
You know what I'm saying? Different. And you don't want to be stuck with those guys, especially in this defense that we feel so great about. So your linebacker room is now Micah, LVE, Jabril Cox, Barr, and sometimes J. Ron Curtis. That's 5 names that I feel good about.